we're the most advanced civilization so far. At least, that we know of. But because of this ideology, many of us don't question the unknowns, the loopholes in our logic. But there are so many mysteries in the world that we don't have an answer for. So many unknowns in our own history. For example, how the Great Pyramid of Giza was built is an absolute mystery. This pyramid, built about 4,500 years ago, has many incredible characteristics to its design. But one particular aspect that has stumped archaeologists is right above the King's Chamber. Above the King's Chamber are 5 other chambers, and these chambers are roofed and floored with many huge granite blocks, which each weigh between 25 to 80 tons. Now, to put this in perspective, 70 tons weighs the equivalent of about 35 cars. And these chambers lie over 40 meters off the ground. How these massive blocks are placed up there, we don't really know. The traditional view of Egyptologists is that they could get these blocks up there because they made a ramp and pushed them along this ramp. But I asked someone with a physics degree from 1997, aka my dad, to calculate how many people would be required to push a block of this weight up a ramp. And he calculated that it would take 635 strong humans to be able to push a block of this weight up a measly 10-degree ramp that extended over 560 meters long. That's a lot of humans, and that's a really, really long ramp. We can assume that they use cylinders under the blocks to reduce the amount of friction and reduce the amount of people required to push. But still, how did they even get the blocks on top of the cylinders? And surely a ramp of this size would have left a trace. The moral of the story is how they got these blocks up there, we have no idea. And they placed them up there with incredible precision. This mystery in our history is only one of many. The origins of Caral, the potential underground chambers of Gunung, the insane architectural features of El Mirador, all mysteries. My dream is to see more people questioning the loopholes and the unknowns, and for us to have more resources to research the answers. I believe we need to learn more about our past in order to understand our own species better. There are so many of these mysteries all around the world. Giza just so happens to be a hotspot for ancient mysteries. Aside from the Great Pyramid of Giza, the well-known Great Sphinx of Giza is also quite the mystery. Not because of the way it was built, but because there's a great chance that it's a lot older than most archaeologists believe. Most archaeologists believe the Sphinx to have been built in around 2,500 BCE, making it around 4,500 years old. However, there's evidence of water erosion on the Sphinx. It's in the desert. And this makes a lot of archaeologists and historians speculate the Sphinx to have been built a lot earlier, when the Sahara wasn't a desert. In the 1990s, Professor Robert Scott and alternative Egyptologist John Anthony West did studies around the base of the statue to determine the depth of subsurface weathering. And when the data was analyzed, the result was that the core body of the Sphinx has to date back to 5,000 BCE or earlier, which is 2,500 years before archaeologists thought it was built. These two men both think that the Sphinx must have been built by a civilization before the ancient Egyptians, and that the Egyptians found the Sphinx already there, and then recarved the head of it into the head of a pharaoh. I am not an expert, but take a look at this photo. It looks like the head is way too small for the body, and it would make a lot of sense if the original head was a cat's head or a lion's head, and was later recarved by the Egyptians. Now, you might be wondering, why is this important? So what archaeologists may or may not have gotten the dating of the Sphinx wrong. And the answer is, it's important because theories and hypotheses such as this question what we currently believe about the ancient world. They question everything we think we know about our own history. The problem is that our current knowledge has told us fact, like the dating of the Sphinx, when in actuality, we don't for sure know. I believe that mysteries like this wouldn't be told as fact if more people knew about them. I think that it's incredibly important for us as a society to question these unknowns. If more people question the loopholes and want to find find answers, then perhaps we will be able to. There is a lot of money in this world, but not much of it goes into investigating these incredibly intriguing sites that would undoubtedly teach us so much about our predecessors, and we could probably learn a lot that would even be useful in our society. Let me tell you about yet another mystery. Göbekli Tepe, which is located in Turkey, is a prehistoric site that should not exist, based on everything we know about ancient civilizations. Its discovery in the 90s astounded archaeologists, which makes it just that much more important, and of course, intriguing. This site is made up of 4 circular enclosures of large, finely carved limestone pillars. These pillars are adorned with intricate carvings of symbols and animals. The structures at Göbekli Tepe date back to approximately 11,600 years ago, 9,600 BCE, making it the oldest acknowledged archaeological site on Earth. It's older than the invention of the wheel. Göbekli Tepe was built at a time when humans were hunter-gatherers who lived in shelters made of sticks. So how they were able to accomplish making such an incredible site is a total mystery. Archaeologists also carpeted the pillars, and when they did so, they realized that the 4 enclosures weren't built at the same time. Enclosure D dates back to around 9,600 BCE, but the youngest enclosure, Enclosure A, dates back to around 8,500 BCE. So the people who built these enclosures, for some reason, didn't just renovate the original one, but instead kept adding newer ones. And sometime around 10,000 years ago, all the structures at Göbekli Tepe were buried deliberately at the same time. Why? So this entire place is really just one big question mark. And in 2003, a geophysical survey of the area detected up to 20 other stone enclosures inside the hill that Göbekli Tepe is on. Most of them remain unexcavated. Less than 10% of the site has been excavated. This is obviously a crucial discovery for the timeline of the development. I tried to figure out the reason why the majority of Göbekli Tepe hasn't been excavated, and I really could not find an answer. Göbekli Tepe started being excavated in 1994, so it's been 30 years of this site being looked into, and still, less than 10% of it is excavated. This is obviously a crucial discovery for the timeline of human development. I cannot even imagine how much we would learn if the rest of Göbekli Tepe is excavated. There are always limitations of resources to do this kind of work, but still, just imagine how much we would learn. And just like Göbekli Tepe, there are so many sites around the world that have yet to be analyzed in great detail that can vastly expand our knowledge. Sites like Caral, Gunung Padang, and Mirador are all archaeological sites that have several mysteries surrounding them. And each one is as intriguing as the mysteries surrounding Göbekli Tepe. I envision a time where more people are interested in these sites, and unveiling these mysteries is something that actually happens. We could learn so much from these sites if the resources were there. Unfortunately, we're a long ways away from having enough resources to further look into all these sites. But like I said, I can't even imagine how much we would learn. As examples, acupuncture and cupping therapy are both physical therapies that we've learned from our ancient ancestors. Acupuncture was first introduced in ancient China over 4,000 years ago and remained relatively unknown in North America until the 1970s. And cupping therapy was also used thousands of years ago by the ancient Egyptians, Macedonians, and Chinese, and has gained widespread popularity and visibility in recent years. These are only 2 examples of things that we've learned. And like I said, who knows how much more we would? So, if you found my talk interesting, I urge you to look into these mysteries, educate yourself, and start questioning them. If more people look into these mysteries and want to find answers, then the resources required will start to appear so that they can be looked into. Hopefully, we'll get to solve some of the world's greatest mysteries and learn a great deal from our ancient ancestors.